Here.
Mr. Falk?
Here.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Here.
Mr. McClay?
Here.
Mr. Napier?
Here.
Okay, adoption of the agenda. Everyone's had a chance to look over tonight's agenda. I need a motion for approval.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion or anything else that needs to be addressed? Do we need to hold G for a separate vote since Alan's in there?
Like Andy, we do need to pull G out.
Yeah, that's what I was
Okay.
just asking Heather. We do need, we need to pull item G for a separate vote.
Yeah.
Okay. I caught it when I was reading through it. I wasn't sure.
I've read it, I don't know how many times I didn't
Yeah.
catch it.
It's all good. Roll call, please.
Mr. Bowman?
Yes.
Mr. Napier?
Yes.
Mr. Falk?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. McClay?
Yes.
All right, item number 4, approval of the minutes from the organizational meeting and regular meeting of January 10th, 2023. I did not see any additions or corrections. Did anybody else catch anything?
So moved. Second.
Any other discussion around the prior minutes? Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Napier?
Yes.
Mr. McClay?
Yes.
Mr. Bowman?
Yes.
Mr. Falk?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes. At this time, public participation. I do not have any forms at this time, so. Special commendations. We have a motion to approve the following donation of books and stuffed animals to the kindergarten class from Mary Crum, valued at $400. I need a motion.
So moved. Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Falk?
Yes.
Mr. McClay?
Yes.
Mr. Bowman?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Napier?
Yes.
Many thanks to Mary Crum for that. All right, Mrs. Darnold, we're up to you. Treasurer's report.
Revenue did exceed expenditures in January by $422,000. This was, due to the first tax advance of 2022. We received 2 payments so far of tax advances. The district also received the second installment of the annually amount for the casino revenue. It was $1,300 less than what we received in August, but we still received $39,500 in casino revenue. We receive that twice a year. As of January 31st, we have received 55.39% of all anticipated revenue for the district, and we have expended 43.34% of all appropriated expenditures. If you compare that to January of the previous year, revenue is about $1 million higher than last year, and expenses are around $850,000 higher than the previous year. A lot of that is due to the grants that we received. We did receive close to, I believe it was close to $3 million in grants last year. Majority of that was ESSER funds. We're on the tail end of the ESSER, where the majority of it will be spent by this September, and then the flow through will end by June of next year. That is all of that for the financials for January. The other items that I have, 3 of our grants that we received from ODE are 6B, our IDA 6B, our title, and then our Title 2A. 2 of them increased and our title decreased. Those are basically due to our enrollments and the economic disadvantage within our school district. And then we received our millage rates for the upcoming fiscal year for the county auditor. The biggest one that went down was our bond retirement, and that is our bonds are slowly being paid off. So our bond retirement decreased by 0.32 mils. But overall, we still increased our millage value by $70,000. That is solely really that we're on the 20 mil floor. So as we stay on the 20 mil floor, we will continue to generate new revenue. And that is all that I have.
to approve the treasurer's consent agenda.
So moved. Second?
Any discussion or questions around the treasurer's report? Roll call, please.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Bellman?
Yes.
Mr. Mr. Napier?
Yes.
Mr. Falk?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. McClay?
Yes.
Okay, that brings us to item 9, superintendent's report.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this afternoon or evening, whichever way you define that. But yes, we have a special presentation this evening. Looking back there at Caleb Randall, a Fredericktown High School junior student who's been working on a project here for the past, first I heard about it was a few weeks ago, but really excited here to hear his presentation and hear what he has to say for us. So it's good stuff. So welcome, Caleb.
So for each of you, I do have a packet,
Thank you.
just a little bit of information, in it, some pictures as well.
Thanks, Caleb.
Good evening. So, like Mr. Trackman said, my name is Caleb Randall, and I'm a junior here at FHS. I am here to you with an idea to improve our school safety here at Fredericktown. I myself have been part of many Alice lockdown drills here at Fredericktown, and I've seen teachers, as well as substitute teachers, as well as fellow classmates struggle to get our barricade into place by the time that announcement comes over the PA system, the time that our doors pounded on, unlocked, and to see if we have passed or failed our barricade. So I have a solution that is going to solve some of these problems, and that's going to make it very hard for someone to open up this door. It's almost impossible to stop another school shooting anywhere, but all that we can do is be prepared. The goal of the school is to put as many obstacles in the shooter's way before law enforcement arrives, and this is just another preventive measure that we can put in place. This is called the 2x4 system. It's a basic system that can easily be put into place by any one person or any kid or any student or anybody. It's a simple 2x4 that gets put into the door frame. The zip tie goes around the door handle, around the 2x4, and is pulled tight. As you can see in those pictures, it is pulled tight, preventing the handle from being pulled down from the outside door. And if the door handle is somehow pulled down beside that 2x4, that zip tie's there to catch the zip ties there to catch the door handle from it being pulled open, to prevent anybody from getting inside of that door. To evacuate, if that is necessary, you simply cut the zip tie, pull the 2x4 out, and the class is very easily allowed to evacuate. The only downside to this system is that it does not work for any doors with a push bar, such as like the band room, the choir room, study hall room, those bigger classrooms that don't really have those door handles. A lot of the teachers that I've contacted with said that they would like a unitary system inside of the school, and that's exactly what this is. They'd be placed in every single classroom, and they would be specific to that classroom, specifically to that classroom. And it'd be throughout the entire classroom, and Velcroed right beside the door. It'd be easy access for anyone in the classroom or any teacher that's not in their own classroom to be unitary throughout the entire building. I have talked with teachers about the administration inside the building and have gotten this plan cleared by our custodial maintenance coordinator, Neil Kirkpatrick, as well as our school resource officer, Officer Wade Dustin. But both think that this is a great idea. I've also met with both of our principals, Mr. Cludio and Mr. Gary, about this and got their permission to send out a survey to both middle school, high school, and elementary teachers, and the results are in front of you with that in that pie chart. And as you can see, 89% of the teachers that did take the survey, there were a few that didn't take it, said that they would like to see this system inside their classroom. With a high popularity really in the elementary, due to it just being so easy with the younger kids, those teachers were able to put this system into place, and that gives them more time to calm down their students with their younger kids as well. So really I'm here for you to ask for your permission to continue with this project, which would be me and my family donating all the wood and Velcro to supply to the entire school to do the entire school building within those doors, as well as adopting this into Fredericktown's emergency action plan for the school. Thank you, and are there any questions?
I do. This is excellent. A good- Nice job. coming
Yes,
up with
it's
this.
fabulous.
First of all.
It's fabulous. Thank you.
Great presentation, great that you talked to everybody, I'm totally impressed. One question I have though is what about the fire chief? How does the fire,
So Officer Wade did talk to them, and
Okay.
they said that if they were fine with it, as long as it didn't hinder the door from being opened.
perfect, okay.
And which cutting the zip tie,
Yep.
guys said,
Okay.
it'll be able.
That's perfect then, thank you.
I assume, look, I agree with Paul, excellent job, very proud of you, good, nice. I assume you will go through training, because I know sometimes the teachers panic and, show them each one how to do it, okay.
Yeah, I will be showing each teacher when we provide them with this, how to properly and safely install this in each classroom.
Okay.
I'm just curious, have you timed this, like putting it in place and getting it set?
About 30 seconds.
Okay, yeah,
If there's multiple people there, multiple people to hold it,
yeah,
less time than that.
yeah.
It's one of those things, it's so simple.
I know, that's
That's
what I was
awesome.
thinking, it's so
Yeah.
simple, but so
Yeah.
perfect.
That's excellent, nice job, Caleb.
All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you very much.
Yes, thank you,
Outstanding
Caleb.
job.
Yes.
Well done.
Do we need a motion to approve
Yeah,
and
so
continue
do
with
you wanna-
everything, or?
Do you want to approve this now, because we can?
You can't, yeah.
Yeah, let's
Go
just
ahead
go
and
ahead
insert
and,
a motion
yep,
to do
let's
that.
have a motion for approval.
I will, however you want to word it.
Uh,
Let Caleb proceed with the project as drawn and presented to us, or?
Okay,
Second.
okay. Any other questions or any other discussion? All right.
That was Falk and McClay, right?
Yep.
Okay,
Okay.
Mr. Falk,
Yes.
Mr. McClay,
Yes.
Mr. Bellman,
Yes.
Mr. Napier,
Yes,
Mrs. Gallagher.
Yes, thank you so much.
yes, thank you.
Deal.
Okay.
Caleb, thank you again. Mr. and Mrs. Randall, a lot to be proud of there, so
Yes.
thank you. Outstanding. Moving on here too, just a quick update. We had our first achievement team meeting last week on February 9th. We provided the notes there to you and all the supporting documents, quite a few things there to read through. But just overall, the purpose of that is a K-12 representation of our teachers and staff, administration, really focusing on the one goal statement that you have as far as educational excellence within your district vision, mission, and goal statements. It was the initial first meeting, went through a lot of data, had some really good discussions, collective discussions, came out with at least some initial action steps to proceed further as we move forward into the spring and looking into next year. But again, the focus there was that alignment, that district K through 12 alignment, shared focus and common understanding, and also shared leadership as well with that. The other one too that I don't have written in here is last night we held our first parent advisory council meeting. We had about 9, 10 out of 16 there that attended that meeting. We admired a lot of things, if you will, and had good collective discussion, positive discussion. I came to consensus on a few items to move forward as far as our next meeting. I've provided the notes there and also the agenda and supporting documents as well for you to review. I just got those turned out, so you're seeing those for the first time there. But good discussion, scheduled our next meeting, I believe, for April 17th, and we'll continue down that path as well to solicit their feedback and also advice and hopefully begin to increase that transparency and communication on a variety of levels. So I have a few of the parents who attended last evening here in the audience, and thank you again for your service and being here again. So those are the two important pieces that are put in place and beginning to move forward with. Another one I wanted to just update you on, I think you probably all saw that, notification of the OFCC school safety grants were at least sent out by Governor DeWine, I think about a week and a half ago. Is that what it was? We, our elementary and our high school each received $50,000. Middle school, interestingly enough, did not receive that. No rhyme or reason. We have not received official notice yet from the state of that award. And I know most of the counties, our county schools did receive at least a partial award as well. So, and that, if, as a reminder there, that would be for external surveillance, security upgrades, and then also possibly lighting as well, and upgrade to our access key fob system as well, because that, I think, is the original that was put in the building in 2010 or 11, possibly right in that time. So that's what those monies, what those grants were written for. As soon as we receive official notification, we'll let you know on that too. So that's the most recent one. Other than that, that's my superintendent's report. Any questions? At all? Moving on into superintendent's consent agenda. We do have the district calendar, 23-24 district calendar for approval. This will be a second reading of that, get that approved. And then also you can see there overnight field trip for FFA, and that trip is Canadian state qualification. Also to move the March board meeting to from March 14th to Tuesday, March 7th. Move it up a week there, so we need to get that on the docket schedule, get that communicated out there as well. Moving on down some other items as far as Ohio High School athletic membership, that's an annual approval. And then employment, pleased, excited to announce this recommendation of Mr. Adam Brown as the middle school principal, effective in the August 1 of 2023, a 3-year contract for that. Shared this with the middle school, high school staff last Friday, well received there. So I'm excited to recommend that one. You can see some other personnel items there on the agenda, as well as then item G, we will kick down and vote separately, but those would have, the majority of those supplementals have to do with spring sports. And yes, it's here, it feels like it as well. Moving on down then too, as far as the rental agreement with Hart Hill LLC for prom. Prom is May 6, 2023. Talking about all these end of the year events and activities, this is wow. And then also indoor track, attending a couple of meets there, one at the French Field House, and then then the weightlifting competition for our weightlifters to Danville, so approve those. And again, you'll be pulling item G for a separate vote.
Okay. I need a motion to approve the superintendent's consent agenda, please.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any other further discussion or questions around any of the items?
Who second? I'm sorry.
Was that Paul that seconded?
Nate.
Nate.
Nate seconded.
Sorry.
Nope, it's okay. Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Falk?
Yes.
Mr. Bowman?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. McClay?
Yes.
Mr. Napier?
Yes.
Okay, now, item G, which is being voted on separately. I need a motion to approve item G.
So moved. Second.
Any other discussion around item G? Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Napier?
Yes.
Mr. McClay?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Bowman?
Yes.
And Falk abstains.
Mr. Falk abstains. Okay, that brings us to item 11, committee reports. Mr. Napier, you are up first, legislative.
Okay, so we are obviously back in session. The House Finance Committee started work on their FY 24-25 biennial budget. DeWine had outlined a proposal at the State of the State on January 31st, and he included several education-related items, and here's a few of those highlights. Providing funding for any public or private school that wants to hire a resource officer. Providing $100 million to launch new in-demand career tech programs and industry-recognized credential programs across the state. Providing additional College Credit Plus funding to provide additional training for teachers, instruct classes at high school campuses, which we could use. Other things, they'll also, the bill to reform the Ohio Department of Education was reintroduced in the Ohio Senate. It was Senate Bill 178, and it did not garner enough votes, and it was reintroduced as Senate Bill 1. Roughly the same language as what we had in Senate Bill 178. Just a few things. Can't even really pick anything that was earth-shattering out of this myself, at least my opinion. They want to create a Department of Education and Workforce with a cabinet-level director appointed by the governor and approved by the Senate. That is totally different. But also divide the agency into two divisions, one of primary and one secondary schools. So also, along with that, was Senate Bill 1 being a new piece of legislation. A couple more that are coming down that could have impact on us at Fredericktown. Senate Bill 5, which is to establish the workforce voucher program that awards vouchers to students at public and private institutions for higher education seeking degrees, certifications, or licenses for in-demand jobs. Senate Bill 6, prohibit STRS, SCRS, among others, from making investment decisions for primary purposes of influencing environmental, social, and corporate governance policies. I like that one. Senate Bill 29, to enact laws pertaining to technology providers of educational records and data that require school districts to make public certain information regarding the technology provider and limits on school districts what they can access and monitor in school-issued devices. That's a slippery slope. And then this is something that we could be talking about in policy, Mrs. Gallagher, to enact the Religious Expression Days, the RED Act, to require school boards to adopt policies providing students, teachers, and staff with religious accommodations for up to 3 days. That's my report.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, Finance Committee. Mr. McClay, you want to, I know you're coughing down there.
Yeah.
Do you want me to do it? Or
No, I could, I'll try to do it.
Okay.
We met last week and talked about some projects for 23-24 school year, which these are just kind of like ideas of things that might need fixed, which is gym lighting, possibly the bleachers in the high school gymnasium, and possibly the floor, technology, computer lab, paving, and a possible truck. Now, all of that would either come out of permanent improvement funds or ESSER funds. So none of that would come out of the general fund. So that's the best part of that information. And then we also talked about the possibility of putting in premium holiday again for that school year. Talked about summer school, and then the department budgets are due next Friday. And the audit started this week. We all got the information.
Okay, thank you, Mr. McClay. Fredericktown Community Development.
I guess there's sort of a catch up what's going on in the city, and some of it pertains to us, some of it's don't. There will be talk of putting EV chargers. When they're through with downtown, there'll be one in the parking lot next to the Foundation Park, and there'll be one back where the old Ritchie store was by the post office back in there. So the city's planning on putting 2 of those in. Gary, I want to check with you, has our antennas been installed in the tower yet for the buses?
The antennas are being installed.
They're being installed, okay. All right, so after being down with the tower for 6 or 8 months, however long that, don't talk to Bruce about that smell, but they're putting those back up. The third Thursday is going to be starting off fairly soon again, spring's getting here. We're planning for the upcoming more events that the Community Development Foundation does. This year, for the 4th of July, we're going to put everything at the park. Remember last year, some was up here, some were down there. We're just going to consolidate everything at the park this year. probably for obvious reasons, bids went out to tear up downtown. I mentioned this several times, $1 million project or so. You notice they're working downtown right now, the gas lines, getting their gas lines put in, replaced before the city or state comes in and demolishes downtown and rebuilds it again. So your patience will be needed for quite a while, and we're gonna probably work with us a little bit with transportation, things going around, things like that. I guess really the next thing I found sort of interesting, Sam from the Knox County Development Office is always there talking to us. They did a study and they found out Central Ohio, for the first time in history, is showing more of a growth than Chicago or New York City. We're going to usually call them imports, exports, based on population growth, job growth, GPA, all sorts of things like that. We have more people coming to Central Ohio than Chicago or New York, than leaving, which is a positive aspect for, well, Franklin County, Licking County. Unfortunately, when it comes to Knox County, we are just the opposite. We are still exporting, losing more people moving out of Knox County than coming into Knox County. The reason behind that's pretty simple, no housing. There's actually, if you look at what we have in Knox County, there's no affordable housing. If someone graduates from college, they can't afford to buy a house, they're looking for a nice place to stay, you can't find apartments, any place like that to stay. So it's a problem that we're aware of, might, again, affect us to school, property around here, things like it for the future. But that's one thing that they're still having problems with. Right now, I understand there's a grant, they're trying to get things approved for a 500 apartment complex built out by the, or where all the factories are at out there on the road. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, right beyond there, so to alleviate the problem. But that's really the only thing I think, unless Gary wants to add a little bit more.
Covered it.
Okay.
Good.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Falk. Okay, Knox County Career Center, Mr. McClay.
Yeah, the February meeting was this past Thursday, which I couldn't go to because I was at the finance meeting, it was at the same time. But I was at the January meeting on January 12th, and there was quite a bit of good information given there. I think one of the coolest things that I learned from that meeting was the donations for the Food for the Hungry from the students at the Career Center. The online auction that they did, they raised over $5,000, and then that was, in addition to that, the students themselves, other than the online auction, raised $17,000. So they raised over $22,000 just at the Career Center. So that was really cool. And then they were talking about some of their the things that they offer. And the College U business program has done so well that they might start a second section of that, because they're only allowed to, COTC will only allow them to have so many students per section. So it's gotten so popular they might be able to do that. And then they also said that their health tech classes have become very popular as well. So, yeah, it was a really good meeting. Do you have anything else, Jeff?
February meeting was very short, you covered it.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. Administrative reports.
A couple highlights down at the K-5 level. We're all starting to get ready for OSC state testing prep, so started talking with teachers about making sure that they're prepared for that. Especially some of our students who might take a little more time, need more time to take that test. Great Kindness Challenge is coming up down at the elementary, part of our positive behavior intervention supports. Got a whole host of activities that are scheduled for the week of February 27th through March 3rd. Apparently I may have to lose some competition again and do something weird like I sometimes do in the springtime for these events. I'm sure there'll be a little bit more with Right to Read Week to be shared out with specific dates. Mrs. Snyder's working with the committee to get that organized. That'll be right after that week. One thing that I always would sit in this room and listen to, not even thought a big deal about it, was the Heartland trip. We had our parent meeting with the Heartland trip. Those folks do a great job presenting to our parents. Last year was the first year I attended, and I'll tell you, it was just an incredible learning experience for those kids. Taken from chaperones. That would be nice. I'll extend that to any board members who'd like to provide some chaperoning. Last year, we did have a superintendent that stopped out and visited us also and provided some chaperoning as well. I have more of a board report. If there's any questions for me, those are just some of the highlights I wanted to share.
Thank you.
First off, I'd like to start off just talking a little more about Caleb here. Just give you a little bit of backstory because this young gentleman had some serious stick to it. He's been dealing with me and just governmental red tape for a couple months now. Hasn't been Caleb. He came to me with this idea. I said, it's a great idea, but I can't give you the go-ahead on that. You've got to go through these hoops. So, starting with Neil, he did that to Wade to the fire department. Then he came up and talked to Gary. Then he had to come back to me to send out a survey. So through all that red tape, he stuck with it. And I just want to commend him for that. Great job. Publicly, I would say that. As far as my board report, February 6th, we had our PD day, and it was a very successful day. The highlight of that, though, for me, is that day, the entire agenda was put together by the staff. The BLT, the building leadership team, put that entire agenda together. They set up that day. And a lot of it, if you read between the lines from our conversation with BLT, was about just collaboration. And they wanted to start out just having some fun, did a little scavenger hunt. But then coming back, every session we had after that had built-in collaboration for the staff just to sit down and talk about the issues, whether it was, working with our intervention specialists, vertically aligning our curriculum. That's what we did throughout that day. We have sessions, then they break out and apply those sessions. So I think the building leadership team did a great job with that agenda. The second thing is just scheduling for next year. During our January PD day, we were talking, and it came up, staff wanted me to look into the idea of a 9-period versus an 8-period schedule. Now I had to, when we were talking about that, because we started scheduling with the kids, said this may happen, and a couple of the underclassmen freaked out. We're gonna go to school an extra 50 minutes a day. No, we'd be shortening the class periods. So right now what we're in the process of is getting information from the staff and the students. We've done the scheduling part. Now I'm building 2 mock schedules, an 8-period and a 9-period schedule, and we're looking at the feasibility of all the electives we offered. Can we get those in an 8-period day? And because, honestly, the staff's a little split on this idea. Science teachers like the 52-minute periods because they're the lab periods. Math teachers, especially our College Grad Plus teachers, like the 50-minute periods because of that extra time. And then, of course, the social studies and the English language arts tend to, want a shorter staff period or a shorter period there. And there's benefits to both. You got more flexibility with a 9-period schedule where you can put classes and things like that. So that is in there. So what's going to happen next is, like I said, I'm going to build 2 schedules. Mr. Brown, who you guys just hired, thank you for that. And I will sit down and we'll look at it, we'll work at it together, and then we'll make a recommendation to Mr. Chapman. This is the way we think we ought to go based on how these schedules look, and then that's how we'll proceed from that. But we've had, like I said, this was something initiated by the staff in our January professional development day. I think it's January 5th or 6th. So it's kind of a high overview of it and where I'm at with that right now. No decision has been made. If somebody, gives you a call, says, hey, I hear, Gary's totally just lost his mind, he's doing that. We haven't made any decision yet. We're still looking at all the data. And again,
Gary, how much interest do you have in those new course offerings, or is that like the?
Most of them we are going to have.
Okay.
Actually, I got the preliminary numbers. One that really boggled my mind, the ukulele class.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to offer 2 sections now.
Yeah.
The lit classes, all the lit classes, are going to be go except for one. The Vietnam class, that history class is to go, like, 23 students. I looked throughout them. The other big one was the introduction to stats, whether that was gonna be a CCP class or just a high school class. Looks like that's gonna be a CCP class.
Okay.
So.
That's great.
Yeah, I was really happy.
Yeah.
When I looked at the preliminary numbers, now I'm trying to put those into a class schedule.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Excellent.
Any other questions? Okay, moving on, we have Business Advisory Council, Mr. Bellman.
Yes, we had a level 2 snow emergency the day we were supposed to have our January meeting, so there were informal discussions, but nothing formal, so nothing to report.
Okay. All right, policy liaison, Mr. Napier and I, we just found out
Board
that
meeting.
March 13th
13th.
is our next meeting to start wading through some policy revision. Brings us to FEA, Mrs. Snyder.
Some of our FE members will be participating in a tailgate tomorrow for the basketball game. So we'll be having snacks and pizza prior to the game, and we'll be there to support the boys basketball team as well as the seniors that are being recognized for senior night. And then, as Mr. Caputa said, we are working on Read Across America. That'll be the week of March 6th through the 10th. We wanted to get the students a little bit more involved this year, so we asked the student council to come up with some topics or themes that they would be interested in having for Read Across America. They must have been hungry. It was lunchtime when they had their meeting, but the theme that they wanted or topic was dessert. So we're going with reading is sweet. So I'm thinking desserts and sweets, and Mr. Caputo wants to do some sort of challenge. The word pie keeps coming.
Oh,
to mind.
no.
But and then we have a date picked for our district bowling night. That'll be April 4th. So all of the staff will be invited to participate in that, and that'll take place at Trio Lanes from 4 to 6. Board members are welcome to come and hang out, and if you would like to form a team as well, we would love to have you there with us on that evening. So emails will be going out soon, trying to see if people want to get their teams together or who needs to be put on a team. And that is it.
Okay, thank you. Oopsie, Streety?
The only thing I have is looking forward to the bowling night. That was fun.
All right, very good. Okay, that concludes committee reports, and we are at item 12, which is executive session. I need a motion to enter into executive session for the evaluation of the treasurer and superintendent, discuss personnel and matters to be kept confidential, no action to follow.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Bellman?
Yes.
Mr. Napier?
Yes.
Mr. Folk?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. McClay?
Yes.
I have 5:40.
540.
All right, thank you very much for coming tonight.
Afternoon came because of senior night tomorrow night, the JV starting at 5:30, so
Yeah.
senior night
Okay.
will be.
Yeah.
I was on my notes, but I totally forgot, so she said
All
senior
good.
night.
Yep, 5:30.
Yeah.
Yep.
Probably about